Hey everyone, welcome to Polynomial Division Notes. So we're going to start with long division. So what we do is we set up our long division symbol. We put what's being divided on the inside, making sure that we place any zeros for missing terms. So notice I'm missing an x cubed term and an x squared term. Then I continue writing the rest of my polynomial. And what I'm dividing by is going to go on the outside. So what we ask ourselves is, what times x squared gives me 2x to the fourth? Again, what times x squared gives me 2x to the fourth? That would be a positive 2x squared. So now I'm going to take this 2x squared and I'm going to distribute it to that polynomial on the outside. So 2x squared times x squared is 2x to the fourth. 2x squared times 2x is a positive 4x to the third. 2x squared times 1 is a positive 2x squared. From here, I draw my line, change all my signs. And I like to circle my signs so that way I know that I changed them. And now we repeat the process. Well, first we have to subtract down. So 2x to the fourth minus 2x to the fourth, that cancels out. That first term should always cancel out. We have 0x cubed minus 4x cubed. That is a negative 4x cubed. 0x squared minus 2x squared is a negative 2x squared. And we go ahead and drop down the next term, 3x. Now we repeat the process. What times x squared gives me negative 4x to the third power? Again, what times x squared gives me a negative 4x to the third power? That would be a negative 4x. So I distribute negative 4x times x squared. That is a negative 4x cubed. Negative 4x times positive 2x. That is a negative 8x squared. And then negative 4x times 1 is a negative 4x. Once again, draw our line, change all our signs. Go ahead and add down. Negative 4x cubed plus 4x cubed cancels out. Those first terms should always cancel out. Negative 2x squared plus 8x squared is a 6x squared. 3x plus 4x is a positive 7x. And go ahead and drop down your next term, minus 1. And we go ahead and repeat our process for a third time. So what times x squared gives us 6x squared? Again, what times x squared gives us a 6x squared? That would be a positive 6. So I'm going to multiply positive 6 times times x squared. That would be a 6x squared. 6 times 2x is a positive 12x. 6 times 1 is a positive 6. We go ahead and draw our line, change all our signs. So I add down 6x squared minus 6x squared cancels out. Again, that first term should always cancel out. I have 7x minus 12x. That is a negative 5x. Minus 1, or negative 1 minus 6 is a negative 7. And this right here, my friends, is our remainder. This is known as our remainder. So how we write our final answer, okay, we have 2x squared minus 4x plus 6 plus our remainder of negative 5x minus 7 over what we were dividing by, which is that x squared plus 2x plus 1. And that is our final answer for the polynomial division. Okay. Going on to number 2, same process. If you want to pause the video and attempt this yourself, go ahead and do so. So here we go. We're going to draw our division symbol. What we're dividing goes on the inside, making sure we're not missing any terms. So I have an x cubed, I have an x squared, I have a 74x and a constant, so I'm not missing anything. I am taking what I'm dividing by and putting it on the outside. And here we go. What times 2x gives me 4x to the third power? What times 2x gives me 4x to the third power? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. X squared times x is x to the third. So I distribute 2x times 2x squared. That is a 4x cubed. 2x squared times 7. That is a positive 14x squared. We go ahead and draw our line, change all our signs, and then I add down. So 4x cubed minus 4x cubed cancels out. That first term should always cancel out. 30x squared minus 14x squared is a positive 16x squared. I drop down my next term, plus 74x. Now I repeat my process. What times 2x gives me 16x squared? That would be a positive 8x, so plus 8x. I multiply 8x times 2x is 16x squared. 8x times 7 is a positive 56x. I go ahead and draw my line, change all my signs. So I'm going to add down 16x squared minus 16x squared cancels out. 74x minus 56x is 18x. I drop down my next term, plus 64. Now I repeat my process. What times 2 gives me 18x? What times 2x gives me 18x? That would be a positive 9. 9 times 2x is 18x. 9 times 7 is a positive 63. I go ahead and draw my line, change all my signs. I add down 18x minus 18x, that cancels out. 64 minus 63 is 1. 1 is my remainder. So how I write my final answer? I have 2x squared plus 8x plus 9 plus my remainder over what I divided by, which is 2x plus 7. And that is our final answer. So that was a quick review over long division. If you have any questions, make sure you write them down and you ask when you're in class. Now we're moving on to synthetic division. Synthetic division is a special case of division, and it can only be done when you have it in the form of x minus c, meaning example 1 cannot be done using synthetic division. Example 2, I would not suggest it. It can be done, but it does require an extra step. Okay, so 3 and 4 are our prime examples of when synthetic division should be used. Now, note, same as before, if we're missing any terms, we have to add in a 0 for a placeholder. So if I look at what I have 6x to the 5th, and it jumps to negative 2x to the 3rd. So I am missing a term right here, and that should be a 0x to the 4th. And then I also see that I have a typo right here. This 3 should be a 2. Okay, so if it doesn't match that, make sure you fix it. If it does match that, then you're fine. So here we go. We're going to take what we are dividing by, and we are going to set it equal to 0 and solve. So when I solve, I add 2 to both sides, and I get x equals 2. So I am going to put 2 in what I call a half box. And now I am going to take my coefficients of each of my variables, and list them out. So I have them highlighted. It is 6. I have to add in a 0 for that x to the 4th term because it's missing. I have -2, 4, -3, and 1. I'm going to leave some space under those numbers and draw a line. So this is now a zigzag pattern. I am going to drop down my first term. If it's below the line, I am going to multiply. If it's above the line, I am going to add down. So here we go. 2 times 6, that answer goes over here. That is 12. And now I can add down. 0 plus 12 is 12. It's below the line, I can multiply. 2 times 12, that answer goes here. It is 24. -2 plus 24, I add down, is 22. 2 times 22, I multiply it, it goes here. That would be 44. I add down. 4 plus 44 is 48. Now it's below, so I multiply. 2 times 48, that is 96. I can add down. -3 plus 96 is 93. And one more time, 2 times 93, that is 186. And then I add down. 1 plus 186 is 187. So that's it for synthetic division. I will not draw the arrows anymore throughout this video. So what we have here is our remainder. The last number is always our remainder. Then we work our way up. So we have our constant, our x squared, our x cubed, and our x to the 4th. So our final answer is 6x to the 4th plus 12x to the 3rd plus 2x squared plus 48x plus 93 plus 187 over what we originally divided by, and that was x minus 2. And that is our final answer for this question. Okay, moving on to example number 4. So here we go. We're going to first start by taking this, setting it equal to 0, solving for x by subtracting 5. I get x equals -5. That goes in my half box. Then I double check to make sure I'm not missing any terms. So I have an x squared, an x, and a constant. Perfect. So now I'm going to take the coefficients and list them out. 3, 7, -20. I'm going to leave some space underneath and draw a line. And then I repeat my process. So here we go. We drop down our first term, which is 3. It's below the line, we multiply. -5 times 3 is a -15. It's above the line, we add. 7 minus 15 is a -8. It's below the line, we multiply. -7 or -5 minus 8, or sorry, -5 times -8. -5 times -8 is a positive 40. We add down. -20 plus 40 is a positive 20. So now I have my remainder, my my constant, and my x term. So my final answer, 3x minus 8 plus 20 over what we were dividing by, and we were dividing by x plus 5. So that right there is our final answer. Okay. Now, moving on to what is known as the factor theorem. So the factor theorem says that x minus c is a factor of the polynomial of f of x if and only if f of c equals 0. So what that tells us is that if, right here, this is what it's telling us, if our remainder is 0, then what we divided by is a factor. So this is telling us that the remainder equals 0. If our remainder equals 0, what we are dividing by is a factor. So here we go. Is x plus 1 a factor of f of x? Well, here we go. We have this. We're going to take it and set it equal to 0 and solve for x minus 1 minus 1. We get x equals negative 1. That goes in my half box. We're using synthetic division. I check my terms. I see I do have a typo. Okay, this right here should be a 5. I think it's fixed on your paper. If not, make sure you fix it. So I double check. I have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and no x. So I'm not missing anything. So I'm going to list my coefficients. 2, 2, negative 5, negative 5, negative 3, negative 3. I skip some space underneath or leave some space and I draw my line. And I go and do synthetic division. So drop down the 2, multiply by negative 1 and get negative 2. Add 2 plus negative 2, that would be 0. Multiply negative 1 times 0, which is 0. Add down, negative 5 plus 0 is negative 5. Multiply, negative 1 times negative 5 is a positive 5. Add down, negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Negative 1 times 0 is 0. Negative 3 plus 0 is negative 3. And last but not least, negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3. And negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So this again is our remainder. And the factor theorem said that if our remainder is 0, then it is a factor. So our answer to this question is yes, x plus 1 is a factor of f of x because the remainder is 0. And that's how you would answer this question. Okay, moving on to the next one. Is x minus 11 a factor of f of x? So we repeat the same process. We take what we need to divide by to check. We set it equal to 0. X minus 11 equals 0. Add 11 to both sides. That gives us x equals 11. Now, I put that in my half box, 11. And I take all my coefficients, making sure I'm not missing anything. So I have 4, 3, 2, 1, and none. Perfect. I'm not missing anything, so I list them out. 3, negative 33, negative 17, 187, and negative 11. I go ahead and leave some space and draw my line, and I go ahead and perform synthetic division. If you want to pause the video and see if you can do this yourself and check your work, go ahead and do so now. So we drop down our first term 3, we multiply it by 11, we get positive 33. So we get negative 33 plus 33, which is 0. I multiply by 11 and I get 0. Negative 17 plus 0 is negative 17. I multiply 11 times negative 17 is a negative 187. I add down, I get 0. 11 times 0 is 0. Negative 11 plus 0 is negative 11. So this time we had a remainder that is not 0. Okay, our remainder this time is not 0. So no, x minus 11 is not a factor of f of x because the remainder is not 0. And that is how you do the factor theorem. So if you have any questions over long division, synthetic division, or the factor theorem, please make sure you ask me in class, and I will see you in the next video.